everyone, this is Remlace from 40k Theories, and welcome to this new episode of 40k Lore for Newcomers. For this episode, nominated on Patreon by The Master Knight, we will be taking a brief look at the beings known as heretics. This video will be a brief overview for certain events that may be explored in greater depth within additional videos in the future. So without further ado, let's begin.
There are horrors in this galaxy that only faith and steel can overcome, and that we should be grateful we shall never fully understand.
Heretics are individuals who are deemed guilty of profaning, betraying, or otherwise blaspheming against the religious doctrines and tenets observed by the Adeptus Mechanicus. While there are any number of heresies which can result in a person being deemed a heretic, such as attempting to weaken the Mechanicus' iron grip on knowledge, or for simply striving to obtain more power and influence through means outside of those permitted under established doctrine, by far the most common crime committed by heretics is that of technological innovation and experimentation. Indeed, so strict and dogmatic are the ways of the Adeptus Mechanicus that almost any attempt to develop entirely new technologies or otherwise break the cycle of engineering stagnation is seen as being a proverbial slap in the face of those who adhere to established scripture. Creation, by the word of the Mechanicus, is a divine act, and thus lies wholly within the purview of the machine god and not his mortal servants. The overwhelming majority of machines constructed by the forgers of the Adeptus Mechanicus, and by extension the Imperium, are developed via the utilization of schematics and blueprints that are contained within artifacts known as Standard Template Constructs, or STCs for short, which are considered by many throughout the Martian priesthood to be sacred relics, fonts of knowledge bestowed unto humanity by the machine god itself, and thus sacrosanct. That being said, there are a number of, admittedly rare exceptions to the rule, such as those tech priests in service to the Ordo Xenos branch of the Inquisition, who will often be granted permission to modify alien weaponry into a form suitable for use within the armories of the Death Watch. Often, it will be those tech priests who have become isolated from other members of the Adeptus Mechanicus, such as those who find themselves employed within an Inquisitor's retinue, or are otherwise forced to become self-sufficient and adapt to situations outside of the norm, who become heretics, although this isn't always the case. Should an individual be found guilty of being a heretic, then, generally speaking, one of two fates will befall them. They will either be simply executed or converted into a servitor, a mindless and lobotomized cyborg slave organism. Because of this, many heretics will flee from their worlds of origin should their peers begin to grow suspicious of their activities. As a result, many heretics are known for displaying extreme paranoia, and will often modify their bodies to incorporate multiple offensive and defensive systems in order to maximize their chances for survival. While heretics are, as implied by their name, considered heretics to the priests of the Adeptus Mechanicus, they should not be confused with members of the Dark Mechanicum, a faction that splintered off from the modern-day Adeptus Mechanicus over 10,000 years ago and turned against the Imperium during the course of the civil war known as the Horus Heresy. Indeed, while the priests of the Dark Mechanicum will commit various technological heresies in their own right, oftentimes involving blood sacrifices or by making pacts with demonic entities, many heretics continue to remain staunchly loyal to the Emperor of Mankind, in spite of the persecution that they may face from their peers. To oversimplify, while all members of the Dark Mechanicum are themselves heretics, not all heretics are members of the Dark Mechanicum. In much the same way that there are plenty within the Imperium that see themselves as loyal to the Emperor while being condemned by the priests of the Adeptus Ministorum, so too are heretics outcasts from the Mechanicus by breach of dogma, not simply because they have thrown their lot in with the ruinous powers. And that concludes this episode of 40k Lore for Newcomers. If you like this video, consider supporting us on Patreon for more content. To those that are new to 40k, we hope you learned something. So leave a comment below, And thanks for watching.